So we're holding in the laws of Shabbat, Siman Reish Samech Vav, section 266, Halacha number 7, Halacha Zayin. The person should travel on foot even if he must journey beyond the Shabbat limits. If you have to go, for example, why do you have to go? Because of the possibility of danger. So if someone walks with shayara, with a caravan of people, with a lot of people, and he's in the desert or in a place that it's dangerous, he's carrying things with him, or even if he's not carrying things with him, there's a limited amount of how much you're allowed to walk on Shabbat. And if there's a sakana, if there's a concern that he stays there by himself, the group will continue to walk. They're not going to wait for him. So then he's allowed to walk with them. The person should travel on foot even if he must journey beyond the Shabbat limits because of a possibility of danger. What is the limit that you can walk on Shabbat? What is the limitation? It says 2,000 cubits or 2,000 cubits according to rabbinic law, and 12 mil according to scriptural law. According to certain views, as the Alter Rebbe proceeds to state. So we'll see there is a reason to say that he should ride on the donkey, because when doing so, maybe it's better for him to ride on the donkey. Why? When doing so, his feet will hang more than 10 handbreadth above the ground, and the prohibition against going beyond the Shabbat limit does not apply when one is more than 10 handbreadth above the ground.
But you're not allowed to ride a donkey. Also.
Right. But which one is more, it's more strict of prohibition?
I don't know.
You'll soon see. So it says, as explained in section 248, if by contrast he travels on foot, he will violate the prohibition against going beyond the Shabbat limits. Indeed, this ruling applies even with regards to the scriptural prohibition against going beyond the Shabbat limits, 12 mil, according to the opinions that going beyond that distance is forbidden by scriptural law. Nonetheless, the rationale for prohibiting riding is that although while riding his feet will be more than 10 handbreadth above the ground, nevertheless, since he is comfortably sitting on the donkey, a place that is comfortable to use as a seat, and the feet of the donkey touch the ground, the situation resembles one traveling in a coach, traveling in a wagon. In that instance, even though it is 10 handbreadth above the ground, if it is 4 handbreadth by 4 handbreadth or more in area, the prohibition against going beyond the Shabbat limits applies, as will be stated in section 404. Nevertheless, if it is a situation where danger could arise if the person does not ride his donkey or travel in coach, for example, one is traveling through a desert with a caravan and he would not be able to keep pace with them if he goes on foot. Everybody is riding the horses and he's walking. He's not going to keep pace with them. Or the like, he may ride or travel in a coach. This leniency applies even when he's still within the Shabbos limits, and thus there is no prohibition at all against traveling on foot. It says in number 40, and under ordinary circumstances, there would be a prohibition against riding on animal. Here, however, since walking would cause him to lose contact with the caravan and force him to travel alone, leniency is granted.
Sakana.
Is the 2,000 cubits beyond the Eruv or beyond his home or once the Shabbat starts? When do you start counting?
It's beyond the city limits.
Beyond city limit.
After the
כמה
roof,
זה יוצא?
2,000 אמה.
One mile?
1 kilometer.
2,000 אמה is...
קילומטר אחד? אז זה
אלפיים.
that's 2.2 miles.
I'm not sure.
So each amma is...
18 inches.
So if you have 2,000 times 18 inches,
3 miles.
divided by 12. Why divide by 12? Because 12 is considered a foot. So it's 3,000 feet.
1 kilometer. Yeah, that's it.
That's 2.2 miles.
After the roof, yeah, Rabbi.
After the,
1 kilometer and 2.2 miles.
yeah, 1 kilometer is equal to 2.2 miles.
From the point beyond the so meaning if let's say
Kilometer is more than
let's
mile.
say this is your
1.6.
this is your city limits, okay?
1
So
kilometer,
this square is your city
1.6
limits.
miles.
You can put an
more.
eruv by the edge. Let's say you gotta get to this point. You can put an eruv by the edge, and from this point,
Here.
if you put an eruv, if you put a plate of food called eruv tchumin. Eruv tchumin is a special eruv. It's not a border. It's not a gate or screen or rope that you put around the place. It's plate of food that you prepared for Shabbat. You put it there, and you're allowed to walk another 2,000 amot from that point. That's called Eruv Tchumin. We have Eruv Tavshilin that we want to cook from on a Yom Tov. We want to cook for Shabbat. On a Yom Tov, we want to cook for Shabbat. Usually on Yom Tov, you're allowed to cook for that day, but you're not allowed to cook for Shabbat. So Eruv Tavshilin enables us to cook on Yom Tov for Shabbat. So that's Eruv Tavshilin. And then you have the regular Eruv that covers the surroundings and makes it one Reshut, makes it Reshut HaYachid. Makes it
A place
a
like
private
I said,
domain.